Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
First of all, did you anticipate a submission win with his longer limbs and stuff like that? Was that what you were going for, or is that just how the fight ended up?
I wasn't necessarily planning on it. I'm not the type to necessarily just have something set in my mind. I go through all the scenarios in my head, and that was one of them. But Roosevelt, he's legit. I could tell by his defense on the ground when I was trying to pass him out that he knows what he's doing, and I was just kind of biding my time, and trying to use my pressure to make him make that mistake. And then when he was almost up, and I attacked the armbar, dove on that, and from there it was again like he defended well, and then it was just okay. I'm gonna slowly put the pressure on and hope that he does something to, lose that defense. Like he tried to strike me the one time, and I almost had it, and then I was kind of just waiting for him to panic, kind of to get out of it and take that opportunity, and I found it.
At this point, when you fight, it's like the main thing that's discussed is your longevity in the sport, and now you've been around for ages. Do you look at records like Cerrone has and David Numaya have and think, I want to be the guy to break those, or do those things not really matter to you?
They're cool. They're cool to have, but it's not my goal. Knowing how I feel right now, how my body's been feeling, and if I can fight at the pace I want to, I know that I can get to 40. It'd only be like 2 years, if that, if I'm fighting at my pace, which would be like every 3 months, Sean. The numbers are cool, but I still have things I want to, do. I know that I can compete with the best guys in the world in this division. It's just about showing up on fight night, and over the years, it has become harder to do that. But I feel like I'm kind of cracking the code on it, and me now on my best is way better than me back in 2010. So there's still a lot I'd like to do, and I'm healthy enough to keep doing it.
I saw in a piece by MMA Fighting earlier this week that you said your peers and what they think of you matters a lot to you. On Twitter, you've got Amanda Nunes, Dustin Poirier, Frankie Edgar, all these great names giving you props. How much does that mean to you?
The UFC.com guy made me tear up. It's amazing. The respect that I've earned from my peers by being me. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I honestly wouldn't. I'm not going to jeopardize that aspect because that's something that's taken a career, and a life of just trying to do the right thing and, showing respect to anyone else that's going to step inside that octagon, because it's not easy. Because even at 35, I'm still feeling butterflies. There's still, I feel like I might puke. It's still a nerve-wracking thing, and nobody's given the opportunity to do it. You have to earn it, and to have my peers and and other coaches and stuff like that say the things that they say about me. It's awesome. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Last one from me. You say you want to test yourself against the best. How do you do that? Where do you go from here? Who do you fight next to get your way up to the top?
I don't know. That's never been my job. I'd like I said, I'd like to fight Island. I'm not going to fight on 100, 200, 205, and then not get the opportunity to fight on Fight Island, or take the opportunity rather. I'd love to do that, and if I'm going over there, I'd actually prefer to fight at 170s and just be able to barely worry about my weight and just hop into the octagon. I think honestly, even as dialed in as I feel like I have my weight cuts, I would love to not have to cut weight because I know that I would perform even better. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who I'm fighting. I was jazzed up to fight Roosevelt, and I was super jazzed up when I fought Clay. sharing the octagon with another legend, a Hall of Famer, was I don't know if I've ever been that excited for that fight. So yeah, whoever they decide to put me in there with, I'll do it.
Right, man.
Thank you.
Great fight, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Were you surprised you came in as an underdog?
You know what? I don't care at this point in the game. It's not my job to worry about what the bookies and stuff like that, what they do. So yeah, hopefully it was easy money for some people.
Absolutely. Sometimes it seems like the bookies are all in their 20s and may not have known who you were,
Well.
something like that, because a lot of us felt that you have a lot left. Speaking of which, do you have a timeline on how many? I know you just kind of hinted, but you want to make it to 40 and go into your 40s, or what's your feeling on that?
I know that I can make it to 40 fights in the UFC. And the problem that I see is that if I make it to 40, that's going to be, about, let's say, 2 years, unless I get a lot of fights offered to me, which I would absolutely love. But then it's like, we're only a couple of years away from 300, so maybe that'll be the one to hang my hat on. Who knows? But right now, I'm feeling fantastic. The fight camp that I had leading up to this, it was weird. It was different because we were trying to minimize, contact and stuff like that. So I had a really tight, small group of guys, and they're all fantastic. My coach Amr Ibrahim, my Muay Thai coach Brian McLaughlin, my Jiu-Jitsu coach, and Joe Tizano, who's one of our up and comers, undefeated local pro. Pushed the hell out of me, and the awesome part was that every session was just about me, where I do have a group of fighters, so they're always working on their stuff and getting ready for their fights, and that's what I wanted to do, but kind of making it about me was pretty neat. So yeah, I'm feeling great, so we'll ride it as long as we can.
Can I ask which one of you guys needed this to be at 160, and how did it feel to you?
He did, and it honestly it made my life a lot easier. That last 5 pounds is the hard part, the really hard part. Like once I get to like 164, I start to feel it. But yeah, for whatever reason, he didn't feel like he could do the cut again that quickly, and I had told Sean I'd fight at 170s for this anyway, so it was literally 30 seconds. He texted me, "Would you do 160?" And I got him back to him, yes.
Awesome. Last one for me. Did he have any chance of slipping out of that armbar?
No, he did not. Now, I've drilled thousands upon thousands of arm bars, and I had it in. Once I rolled into it, the arm was across the body, and I had a good bite with my legs. And the only way he would have gotten out is if I gave up on it, if nothing had happened. But I felt him start to squirm a little bit, and here in his corner, kind of telling him what to do to get out. And it was kind of just, the trap was set at that point, and whatever he did, it would have, being against the cage did give him a few more options. If he had stacked me a little bit more, I wouldn't have been able to roll him. But he loosened up a little bit to try to strike me again, and that's when I felt it was mine and took it.
As a jiu-jitsu guy, I thank you for keeping jiu-jitsu looking good in you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Jim, I wanted to ask, I know that you've discussed it already, but Donald Cerrone, 23 wins. What would it mean to you and your legacy to be able to eclipse that?
I don't know. Donald's going to be fighting until he's like 68. I think that if we both work our way up to 40, we can meet again at 40, just for the fun of it. And we'll see if we can go on beyond that. But, that he's a machine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to stop. I think Dana White's going to have to force him to stop.
I'm just curious. You have 4 kids back home. Your oldest ought to be like what, 10?
10 years old. Yep.
Did they all watch you fight, and what was their message to you?
They do. They miss me, and they were just cheering for me and wishing me luck in the fight. And my 6-year-old, she's like, "Dad, why'd you have to leave on Tuesday? Why couldn't you wait until Friday to leave?" I'm like, "That's not the way it works, sweetheart." It was amazing to have them, come to that fight last year, and that was my favorite moment. 35 fights in the UFC. That to be able to fight in front of all of my kids, it's like, okay, we could have taken the older two, but then it's like, oh, well, the younger two are going to be pissed when they grow up that they never got to see it live. But things fell into place, and to have them there, and the UFC rushed them down to cage side. I had no idea that they were cage side during that fight, and it kind of like after it's like, whoa, I squirt Joe Lozon's blood into those seats the first time we fought. It was a little surreal thinking about that. It's like, if things had gone a little bit differently, it could have been a very traumatic experience for them. Just having them there, and then the hospitality that the UFC showed after the fight for them was amazing. That was I don't know. I'd have to get an opportunity to title and have them, and win it and have them there again to eclipse it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Going into that armbar that you were talking about, there was that moment when you got the finish, he was actually picking you up, and I think a lot of people were worried that we would see a slam at that point. Were you so confident in that position that you had it that you didn't even need to think about, well, do I need to defend my head? Do I need to do anything? Was it that locked in at that point, and it wasn't even a worry for you when he picked you up that you just knew it was inevitable, it was a finish? It was given where we were against the cage, he wasn't going to be able to lift me out at all. So it was just going to be straight up and straight down, and you can deal with that pretty easily. And like I said, I had already kind of yoked it up, and I'm big on when I'm armbarring someone, I'm not like grabbing the wrist, I'm like hugging it. So I had his wrist pinned against my chest, and it's not just my grip strength, it was my back and everything going into it. So that it was the opportunity that I was looking for, and I already kind of was, waiting for. So it was just, it came on fast, and I knew that I would be taking it home. And I think we heard you say something when you did the first post-fight interview where you stopped and talked to Dana a little bit about the fight island. Mm-hmm. Did he give you any sort of feedback as to whether that could be an option? I yelled Fight Island to him afterwards. Okay, it wasn't like you had a conversation.
Yeah, no, we weren't talking about that. He was actually showing me a text message that he had gotten, about my fight and stuff like that. So.
And this is the second time we've heard you sort of jokingly talk about the UFC 300. Is that idea starting to formulate itself in your head, and is that something you're either subconsciously starting to hope for or push for?
It's not like I don't want to. I'm not gonna, just take a few more fights. We're looking at almost 50 more, numbered events. So it's a ways away, and 200 was in 2016. So, we're looking at 4 more years. But if things keep going the way for me, physically that they're going, then I feel like I can do it. It's not like I'm coming out here and getting knocked out and all that stuff. I've been in some tough fights, but I come out of them, and I'm still capable of quite a bit in there. And like I said, I know that I can compete against the best guys. It's just a matter of showing up, and that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. So that's the challenge that I like. So I don't know. That's I had told myself 34 when I started fighting. I was like, I'm done at 34, and here we are. I'm going to be 37, in like 2 months. So that went out the window.
When you think back upon the time when you were dealing with the Lyme disease and stuff, does it feel like a lifetime ago when you think about how you're performing now? Do you regret the time that you lost because you're still performing at such a high level? When you look back and think about that time, how do you reflect upon that moment?
I'm the type that, me today and the success that I have today is also because of the troubles that I've had to come through. I'm not the type to wish for different circumstances. I'm not the type to, want to go back and change it or anything like that. My crappy times and the tough times that I've gone through have made me, and the life that I have today is because of that. There definitely were struggles with it. There were fights that I shouldn't have taken, and there just things around it, and I was
I was fighting for, I was fighting for money at that point. I was fighting to get a paycheck to keep my gym running and this and that, and I should have been home in bed. And that does it bugs me a little bit, but it's almost like that chip on my shoulder, like, hey man, like I made it out of that by going out and doing what I'm supposed to do and busting my ass in the gym and I wouldn't have made it out of that without the guys that I have around me and my wife and my family. The three guys that were in my corner today, I mean, these are three of my dudes, like they've all been around me for a long time, and I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't have made it through all the tough times without guys like them.
That's great. And last one for me. You have so much experience. We're talking about, make it to UFC, $300.
It's nonsense, right?
Is Jim Miller still growing as a fighter? Is there still new stuff for you to learn and go? Are you learning new things about yourself and about your game always going forward?
Yeah, definitely. Me today performing would beat the shit out of, me performing in 2010. I've evolved so much and become such a more dangerous fighter. Was I physically probably a little bit more explosive back in my 20s? Yes, but technically, and fight smarts, like my fight intelligence wise, I feel like I would murder myself back in those days. So yeah, it's still frustrating though, because it's like there are so many things that I do and train to do that I haven't gotten to show in 35 fucking fights, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. So it's like, all right, we need to sign another one so that I can Kimura somebody, and then another one after that so I can drop somebody with a liver shot, to save those guys that I've been training with for years that I've done these things against inside in the room.
Quick one, Jim. Any chance we'll see you in your 40s here?
Maybe. It sounds crazy for me to say that, even, I don't know, just even to think about that. Like I said, because I wasn't planning on it lasting this long, but I'm still dangerous and still capable of doing it, and and still evolving. So maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm also the type, that I'm just going to play it by ear, and we'll see how it goes.
That's another win for New Jersey.
Thank you.